And today is November 14th, 2022. Oh, thank you. Thanks. Appreciate that. This meeting is officially called to order. We do have present with us a full board this morning. We have Dr. Cynthia Stewart with us, Mrs. Talisa Young, Dr. Joe Shoemake, Mr. Fred Sparks, and myself, Yvonne Cox. This meeting, as I said, is officially called to order, and we do have a quorum at this time. Now we will begin with the invocation offered by Dr. Joe Shoemake.
Thank you. Please bow with me. Lord God, Almighty and everlasting Father, you brought us safely into the beginning of this new day. Preserve us with your mighty power that we may not fall into sin nor be overcome by adversity, and in all we do, direct us to the fulfilling of your purposes. Mercifully receive the prayers of your servants who call upon you, and grant that we may know and understand what things we ought to do, and that we may also have the grace and the power to faithfully accomplish those things. This morning, we ask your special blessings on Mr. Dupree and his family. We ask that you strengthen them more and more and enfold and comfort them with your tender care. Finally, we ask that you make us ever mindful and worthy of our responsibilities and of the trust the community has placed in us. Give us the grace to put away ourselves and purify our intentions that we may be fit for your service. Through Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns with you in the Holy Ghost, one God, now and forever. Amen.
Amen. Praise God. Please stand with us for the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I do have one thing I'd like to say before we get started, and that is congratulations. Congratulations to our school district again for moving up to level C, and all of you for all your hard work in helping us to get there. But especially to our children, the athletics as well as the extracurricular activities, they've done an outstanding job and they continue to represent the district very well. And we're very, very proud of all of them. Would you just please just give them a little clap, clap? Thank you. Thank you very much. Moving on to item number 3, the adoption of our agenda, policy BBB, policy BCBD. Requesting a motion for approval.
So moved.
The motion is made by Mr. Sparks, requesting a second.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Young. Any discussion? Okay, I do have discussion real quick, Mr. Don, if you can correct me, please. If I'm looking at the agenda, if you go down to item number 10, is this the return to regular session? Should that be before we adjourn and move item number 11, executive session, up to number 10? It's at the very end. How should I handle that?
That is, return, it's really return to open session.
Yes,
Even
sir.
though we use that term, regular session, all the time.
Yes, sir.
We're in executive session or open session. There's only two options. But that is where it should, close determination, yeah, right, it should go after, you're right.
It should go after executive
Yes,
session.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
you are right. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right. So I forgot, I meant to request a motion to move that and then approve. Should I restate it?
Yeah, that's good. You just call for the motion just then. I
Okay.
think.
So that's
Mr.
discussion.
Sparks.
So moved.
Okay. All in favor, please raise your right hand.
Second.
Oh, Dr. Shoemake, do it again.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. Any other discussion? No, ma'am? We're flipping regular down and executive up. Please raise your right hand, all in favor. Motion passes, it is approved. Thank you. Moving on to, scroll back up. Moving on to item number 4, the Board of Education Policy BCBD, requesting a motion to approve our minutes for October 11th.
So moved.
The motion is made by Mrs. Young, requesting a second.
Second.
Second by Dr. Brown. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion passes, is unanimous. Moving on to item B, the trustee district review. Trustee travel and conferences. Did anybody attend anything? Oh, I did a conference at Lake Teocata. The role, the board's role in approving student achievement at Lake Teocata last Saturday was excellent. Small group setting and an opportunity for you to ask questions and just, hey, if it's, you just got about 10 people there with you, so if it don't come out right, that's fine. 100 people is not listening. And then it's a good opportunity for me to listen to other board members. A lot of times your board presidents are there, and the lady, the presenter, she does an excellent job on thoroughly talking about things in depth. And she does not hesitate to tell you if you're looking at something in an incorrect way. And I really, but I am prepared to share everything with the board. As a matter of fact, Ms. Woodard is making a copy for all of us that will be presented to you on December 3rd during our work session meeting. Okay. Moving on to any other questions or comments would you like to make? Number 2, discussion and consideration of the capital plan for capital improvement plan for CMSD. I see Mr. Taylor is here today, Mr. Chapman. Okay, so Mr. Taylor Gill will be presenting. Okay. And Mr. Okay. Oh, oh. Good
Good
morning.
morning.
We had several reports turned in to the board for y'all to look at, and we just want to check, see if, on any of the reports, if y'all have any questions for these reports.
Board members? Ms. Young?
I had one question. Let's see. I'm sorry. Okay, under the CHS, let's see, you've got mulching. Do we, are we responsible for that, the landscaping there, or is S&S responsible? L and K or S&S?
That's L and K.
L and K.
Responsible for that. They're working on that now.
Okay, and I noticed here, it says planters at the front door, freshen up, or do we have planters there? Because I don't know, I don't see any, or is it just, is this old?
You talking about on the capital improvement list itself?
Uh-huh,
There were planters, new plants and everything put in there last year. He has not put anything yet. As I stated, he's working on the landscaping now.
okay, so we keep it up ongoing,
That'll be L and
like the
K.
lawn, L and K?
Yes,
Okay,
that'll be under the contractor.
that's it.
Okay. There's mowing, motion, beautification. Okay, any other comments? Any questions? Dr. Shoemaker?
Thank you. Just a quick question about Fairview and the playground and pea gravel. I've noticed that, that it's, pea gravel's not ADA approved.
Right.
What is ADA approved?
There is a certain kind of mulch that you can get
Okay.
for that, and then there's another kind that I've seen around, like, they take old rubber tires and cut it all
Shred it.
up, shred it up, and
Mhm.
you can put it in there.
Okay, I'm assuming that we'll eventually
We're
move.
working on it, yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? This is the
Oh,
time
I
now.
had one other question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the PA system at the high school, is it complete? Because I was in the building a couple of days ago and I noticed that when they made an announcement, I could barely hear it. Are we done with it?
They
or-
are working on it right now. There's some problems with the module that works the phone system. And it's really according to who's talking on it. Sometimes you're either too far away or you're too close. That's why I like to get the phone module put back in. When we started having problems with it, she has it, but just has to come set it up. Because I can show you an example if you do like that right there. I mean, I'm not being smart, I'm just
Right.
trying, it's, people talk, you can go in there one day and somebody's talking, certain people are clear as a bell, and some people are not.
Oh, okay.
But we do have some more speakers that we're putting in several areas that I guess you would call like dead areas that were never speakers there to begin with, but we're going back through and checking on some things on that.
Okay, and they've completed all the work in the building, or you're saying we're still working on it?
As far as what they originally budgeted, or we originally planned for them to put in, it's done. We're adding some more speakers to it in several different areas.
Okay, I guess just concerned if there's an emergency in the building, how would students, like you said, if some people are talking in or out, I could barely hear it, I didn't know what they were saying.
I mean, I can't talk about how somebody talks into the mic, as far as that. But we do have several different ways that they can do it. They can do it with a handheld, they can do it from the mic. And that's just the thing that they're gonna have to figure out. As far as how close or how far away, I mean, I can't be there while they do the announcements.
No, I wasn't saying that, I'm
Yeah.
just saying that it just sound like if I'm a student, you can't hear it. I mean, I couldn't hear it. I don't know if it was the person, but it sounded like to me, the system, I wasn't, attacking the person or whoever
Yeah,
installed
no,
it.
I'm not either.
You know,
If there's a spot in the intercom system that is not working, I don't know anything about it. If there's a hallway that's not working or a classroom, it has not been turned in to me.
Well, I'm sure that's something that you'll look into.
I'll call them today.
Thank
Or
you
in
very
just
much.
a few minutes. If they've got something wrong with it, I want it fixed.
Yes, sir.
Excuse
Okay.
me, if you don't mind if I ask.
Yes,
What-
sir.
Do you know which area that was, Ms. Young?
I was in the office,
office
so I
area.
don't know what area, I just couldn't hear it. I
And I
was in
think
the
that-
office in the foyer area,
Yes,
like,
ma'am. And that office area, I think, is one where a lot of those speakers were not put in place or attached because of the noise level to whenever they come on. So in some areas, those, the speakers in the office, they're in the hallways, a lot of times, because I knew there was not one in the principal's office, they were in the hallways, when they rerouted those. So we may have to look at, putting those inside of those offices as well, instead of just in the hallway.
Okay,
Anything else?
okay. Let me ask a question real quick. So this is your review for the capital improvement project. Do you have any comments about the routine maintenance?
Our routine maintenance, that is just stuff, the things that are turned in to us on a daily basis. We're several work orders behind. We work on them and we try to work on them as they come in. I set priority on which ones more work towards safety or they go to the top of the list. Some of them that are not that important, I guess. I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
they're all important, but, you have a way of setting them to how they get done. But we are several behind.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, and thank you so much for, these lists are very, very helpful. I don't know if Ms. Jordan is the one who pulls them together, but I'm sure she takes in the
It's a team effort.
team effort. Well, please relay our thanks to her for
Will do.
that, too.
Will do. Thank y'all.
One last thing I wanted to ask, and Mr. Taylor Gill is here. I just want to acknowledge you, and if you would want to give us a quick update with Hunt. You know, it's always time for Hunt.
Well, so FEMA is still working on it. They are still very responsive. Hurricane Ian, I can lose track of somebody, Hurricane Ian delayed things a little bit to hit Florida and pull other resources. The money or the obligation goes through several different queues. Right now, it's in the hazard mitigation queue. According to my contact at FEMA, Ken Myers, Ken said it's supposed to be in that queue for no more than 14 days. He checked on it. I talked to Ken, I think Thursday of this week, and he said it'd been in the queue for 39 days. And so he did call them, put pressure to get it out. Once it gets out of the hazard mitigation queue, it'll go to the insurance queue. The insurance queue, insurance will deduct what we've been paid, and that money will be obligated. Right now, he said we're showing about $12.9 million, which is what my estimate showed. So everything's good on there. So it is moving forward. So that's the good news. I know there's a lot, and it is moving forward. So the money will be there. So yeah, that's the news on Hunt.
Okay, when the money is there,
When the money's there,
when the
we'll go back.
money is there, I want to ask a little,
Yeah.
maybe a dumb question, but I want to clear myself up
Yeah.
with this. When the money is there and you say that the money is ready and we're ready to start
Right.
Hunt, all right, usually when projects are going forth, the district puts the money up and we are reimbursed. All right, will we just have that money to work with?
No, it's the same procedure. This is a
Oh.
federal grant, so the district will have to put the money up and seek reimbursement from FEMA.
So sometimes in larger projects, they will advance some money during construction, so that you're not out millions of dollars at a time.
Yeah.
Back in Katrina, that's what they did. They would advance the district some money, so you'd have that money to draw down, and then when you
could
draw that
advance
money down,
us
they
some.
give you another advance.
a
So,
minute.
It'll be helpful if they allow us to do that, but that is also on the money we have set in the money market account. That's
Yes,
another
ma'am,
federal
that's
grant.
what that's for. That's the cushion.
Yeah.
But you don't want to just use your
yeah.
cushion, you want to.
But once we get the final numbers and the money is officially obligated, we'll go vote to the low bidder. If he can hold his price, great. If he can't, then we'll put out the rebid very quickly and get new bids. But the main thing now is that FEMA has agreed to the scope. The scope is total new mechanical, total new electrical, fire protections, new elevators, the windows. So FEMA has agreed to that scope, so the bids come in higher. It's okay because FEMA has agreed to the scope. So whatever we competitively bid, then they'll just revise very quickly their numbers. So the main thing is just
Okay.
getting that scope approved. So we should be fine there, Ms.
All
Cox.
right. Oh, Dr. May?
Yeah, I was looking back at my notes from the October meeting, and so we're still where we were a month ago.
Yeah, I think
And-
now it's moved to the hazard mitigation queue, so we're
Yeah,
still.
no, that's where it was last
Yeah,
time.
so we're still in there. So hopefully we'll get it out of there.
And then it goes, if I'm correct, to MEMA for review and
Yeah,
approval.
after that queue, it'll go to the insurance queue.
then it comes to
And then
us
it goes,
for-
exactly.
okay.
Yeah. Once MEMA approves it, then they'll send it for us to review, and once we approve it, I think Mr. Chapman is the official person now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then he'll sign it, and then the money's obligated. So
Okay.
then we go forward.
All right, then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it, gentlemen. Okay, I think I skipped on to number 3, discussion of the Hunt campus recovery. We've been in that discussion already, and we'll look at the transaction sheet. Let me see if there's anything on here that we. Okay. I usually try to print this one out. I didn't get a chance to this time. Board, do you all have any questions? Okay. Moving on to item number 4, contract renewal updates. Contract renewal updates. Board, I'm sure you've had an opportunity to read over them. You have any comments at this time? No comments. We'll move on to C, goal update, policy BA, student achievement. I'm sorry, student attendance report. The student attendance report. Board, do you have any comments? Dr. Schumate?
Yeah, I see we were all in red for October. Would somebody remind me, is that the month that Ms. MDE does its head count? Okay. I understand that a couple of schools had flu issues. I would like, if somebody can give me an idea why we are
In red.
in red. Yeah, I've never seen it all in red before. Don't rush. I know nobody wants to handle this, and you're probably hoping I wouldn't bring it up, but it is a little bit concerning, especially the high school.
It is.
Don't fight.
Mr. Dupree has spoken with Michelle, our MSIS data clerk, and he's going to be looking at sending a letter to MDE in reference to us having severe cases of the flu to see if we can kind of get it waived.
Okay, that would be good. Thank you very much.
All right.
But that is, the general consensus is it was just the flu wave that came through that sort of knocked out more kids than would normally be missing. Okay, because I know we make an effort to try to point out that October is a very important month for us as far as attendance goes. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Schumate. Appreciate that. Moving on to our number 2, school safety report. Student discipline A. In the high school, middle school, all of our schools, and the district. Any questions, concerns? Dr. Schumate?
Yep, back again. First of all, I'd like to point out that Columbus Middle School has been gradually lowering the number of fights, which is the big issue. So congratulations, Ms. Williams, on that. I am curious about Columbus High School, the jump in tardies in September. I think it was 9 tardies, it jumped to 98, which is sort of surprising. I'm not sure why, but I'm hoping that somebody's looking at that, because I would hate to see that become the norm. I'm not asking for an explanation today, I just pointed out. And it is a bit concerning. Cell phone violations dropped, which is good, and disruptive behavior, I think, also dropped, which is also good. So it's, it's a mix. I just wanted to point that out.
Gradual.
Mhm.
There are gradual progressive moves that's being made. And it's great to be monitoring those and tracking it, because there's so many different indicators that our district has to meet in order to remain compliance and accreditation. And, accreditation, that's something that we're very proud of. Our school has gained accreditation, but at the same time, we have to monitor all of these little bits and pieces, so that when it all comes together, this is where that total decision is based upon. Dropout report, this is another one. Board, do you have anything about the dropout? Any questions or comments? It's okay. Safety report, number 4. Moving on to number 5, interim superintendent updates and reports. Principal updates. Can I move right on with that? We have with us today Mrs. Kimberly Williams, principal of Columbus Middle School. Good morning. How are you? Welcome.
Good morning, superintendents and all that's in attendance. Good morning to you all. I will briefly speak about the updates of Columbus Middle School. I'm always delighted to have an opportunity to tell you the fabulous things that are going on in Columbus Middle School. We have been identified by the state of Mississippi as a school that is at risk We have 3 indicators. Our indicators, number 1 is low socioeconomic students. This is a subgroup. These are subgroups that we did not score well in. Low socioeconomic is one, and of course, that will be my entire school because I am a Title I school. Our African American population, of course, that will be the majority of my school, as I did share with you all my numbers last Wednesday about my demographic makeup. And my students who have an IEP, and I did share with you all what we were doing as far as working with our students with our IEPs to make sure that they are growing as well. Again, I have met with all of my IEP teachers, inclusion teachers, as well as my self-contained teachers. We have identified those students. We know exactly which student needs to score which raw point. And again, I did share those raw point numbers with you all on last Wednesday as the growth model. Our overall school goal, I've had an opportunity to assess where we are at Columbus Middle School now. And an attainable goal would be 314, a D. Of course, we would love to get to that 329, which will be a C. However, right now, as the data is reporting, we are striving to be a 314, which is a D at this time. Our reading percentage for proficiency area is 21% now. However, in the overall of last year, we were at 26%. I see great possibilities with us being at the closing of 19 weeks, and we are already at 21%, which means, we do have room to grow. We still have time to grow. We are at 41.3% growth for all at this time, and we are at 36.3 right now in the area of ELA for growth for our lowest performing subgroup. Our math continues to be a struggle at Columbus Middle School. Again, I am 3 math units down, meaning that I still have 3 vacancies that we could have possibly filled at the beginning of the school year. However, there were no more applicants at the time. I'm working very closely with Ms. Evans as she goes to the job fairs and recruit teachers. She's sending me a list constantly of teacher applicants who will finish up in December. I have reached out. I actually received an email this morning of a teacher for an ELA position. I have set up an interview with her, as I do have 1 ELA vacancy at this time. But math continues to be a concern. I'm working very closely with Mrs. Wilson and very closely with our math consultants to ensure adequate progress as we go along. We have identified some areas of concern, some areas of weaknesses. However, with those identifications, we are working diligently to improve that area. Our bottom 25 in math at this time is 25.8. Our science and biology is 12.9. However, we just recently took a benchmark assessment, and we took a bi-weekly assessment, and of my 264 students, more than half of those students are already at an area of 3. Area 3 is great because they need a 4 to be able to be proficient in the area of science. We still, again, have time to move those 3s over to the 4s while maintaining those 4s and 5s as well. So everyone is vigilantly working in their area. They're diligently working in their area, their targeted area. We are working with all of our consultants. We take the feedback that they give us, we take it very, very seriously. We go back into the classroom, we fix, we modify. The next time that the consultant does come, as they are the expert in that area, they won't see the same problem again, or the same area of concern, I should say. Moving over into our demographics, our total enrollment at this time is 669. Student 89%. And yes, it is a flu season. One day in particular, I had over 16 personnel absent. I did call for the district to come in and help support. They came hurriedly and immediately to come to lend a helping hand to even get the bags checked for the the monitoring of the situation, because we did have some shooting and some other things happen in the community. Mr. Chapman called early that morning to make sure we were running our metal detectors. I said, Mr. Chapman, hey, we are down. It was one call, that's all. The district came to support us. Very, very appreciative of that effort. Students with 2 or more absences, chronic absences, 53%. That's down a lot. You know, that it is great concern. Teacher attendance rate, 75%. It was just the flu season sort of hit Columbus Middle School. I can speak for the middle school, sort of hard. So what I am doing to mitigate those situations, after every other class change, my custodians are coming through and they they put that spray back into the air to try to neutralize the air, to ensure that that class change, you know, we try to make sure we're trying to ward off any germs that may be in the air during the transitional time. The number of discipline referrals, it did decline to, I have the number of 22 from 26. We're working with character education. We're trying to push through our new social and emotional curriculum. Our counselors are trying to be more visible. Our students are learning the expectations. We did change how we were transitioning between bells. So we have 6th grade moving by themselves, 7th grade moving by themselves. And I'm going to say the 22 attributed a lot to having so many subs in the building. You know, students were trying to do things, conflicts arise because, you know, a classroom teacher can put their thumb on particularly so Johnny and Sally. However, with so many subs in the building because of so many teacher absences, we did have, you know, a slight tick with those fights.
Okay.
What we're doing differently to attend to our school at risk. Again, we are meeting Thursdays on PLCs. We are contacting parents to come in. We are holding students accountable, those data walls that I showed you all on Wednesday. The students don't necessarily move their own, because there is never going to be an opportunity at CMS where a student will be in the classroom by themselves. So to keep down teasing and bullying, they have conferences with teachers, and teachers later on move the data so that it does not create a uncomfortable environment if a student did slip down. We're trying to take those, you know, students' feelings into consideration. However, every student at Columbus Middle School should be able to tell you where they are on their data wall. What the district is doing to supply more support or coaching. We had a fabulous meeting this past Thursday with Ms. Funches. She came in with a data tracker, and the reason that I say it's fabulous was because there's a lot of things that I do by hand to ensure that I keep up with my data, but she administered a tracker, or gave us a tracker that we can just input into the data and it calculates itself. So that's going to take an enormous amount of time that I have to spend to calculate our data to make sure that we are, you know, growing or progressing in the right direction. It's going to take away hours of my planning and my preparation. Also, she did just confirm some of the practices that I had an understanding of. One particular is FAE. FAE is very important as full academic year. That's so important because the way that our students move in and out of our building, we absolutely need to know which students are going to count in our accountability model. So she did confirm those FAE dates that I already thought that we were under. The last page is our money page, and I am working with Mrs. Cornwall around the clock, Ms. Cornwall and Ms. Wilson, to ensure that we are spending these funds appropriately on high-quality material, that we are purchasing the necessary items that we need to be successful at Columbus Middle School, so we can move away from that rating that we have.
I can understand that. Can I ask you a couple of questions? But first, board, does anyone have a question? No one? Let me ask this real quick. You said data tracker. I like that. Oh, what's the name of it?
Ms. Wilson, is there a particular name?
Uh-huh. It's something she's self-created. Wow. That's how you move. That's great. You know, it was something else when you were talking about, and with the flu being the major reason why the ADA is down and student absentees, as well as the teachers. Is this in one of your grades, or is it just spread out, 6, 7,
Building-wide.
and 8?
Building-wide, teacher-wide,
Building-wide?
subject-wide. It's just the flu had no respect for a person, age,
Building and the whole staff, okay. Thank you.
secretaries, counselors, teachers,
Mhm.
support staff, custodians. Yes, ma'am.
All right then, that was my question. Anyone else? Thank you very much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And we do appreciate your professionalism.
Thank you.
Keep your head up. It's moving. Now we have Mrs. Susan Somerville, the custodial update. Hello, hello, hello.
Good morning. I'm Susan Somerville here to give the custodial update. Let me just say, overall, this year in the custodial department, it has been a better year because last year I almost took your girl out. So I'm very thankful for that. I've been meeting with the custodian staff in reference to daily cleaning and sanitizing. We're still sanitizing twice a week and as needed, just like Ms. Gardner said, if someone say we've got an outbreak, like more cases than we would like in a certain area or a certain place, then we would do extra sanitizing in that place. Asking for the custodian's input on day-to-day operations, because they actually do the job and they kind of know what works and what doesn't work, because what works at the middle school or the high school might not work at Columbus Success Academy or Fairview. So we've been meeting on that day-to-day operations.
Okay.
Reminding them that safety comes first. And what I mean by that safety comes first is, take for instance, mopping. Try not to mop high traffic areas, travel areas during the day. Or if you have to, put up a wet floor sign. Ladders, make sure you have a partner when you using the ladder to try to keep safety issues down. Job performance. Ooh, that's anywhere from clocking in, clocking out, missing days, not being to work on time, and just doing your job. Following the proper chain of command. I try to tell them that the best way to handle a situation is if you have a problem at your school. Each school, most schools have a head custodian. So I ask them to report to the head custodian, and then the head custodian reports to me. And that way we'll kind of know what each other have going on instead of them just calling me and not going to their head custodian. Trying to promote teamwork is really hard because the custodians are at different locations. So when a person is at different locations, it's easy for division to get amongst them. Like our school did this, we're all together. We're collectively together. Training new staff. We have put in a new procedure, and when I say we, I mean myself and the head custodian. What we do now is when we get new staff is that we put them with an experienced custodian for maybe 3 or 4 days before we actually put them on their hall or their assigned area. And then after that, I meet with that person to see if they have any concerns, anything that's going on, or anything I can help them with. Because it's kind of like in the evening time, that's when everybody works kick in. Everybody, so you don't have time to really to address those issues in the evening time when everybody is cleaning their room, trying to get them ready for the students for next day. So we try to discuss that stuff earlier in the day. Supplies. I've been concentrating on keeping a sufficient supply of supplies for our students on hand. It changes from year to year. Last year was trash liners. This year is paper towels. I order 75. It's not enough. Then I order 100. Now I'm up to 150. Let me tell you one thing. Our kids are washing their hands if they're not doing anything else. I can't keep enough paper towels in the buildings. Meeting with vendors. I met with some vendors, and they've informed me that paper products, and when I say paper products, I mean tissue, paper towel, is going to rise about 45% by December, by my birthday. That's what they told me, it was by my birthday. So, they were saying that order your sufficient amount if you can possibly, as far as budget purposes. Um, Believe it or not, lastly, we are getting ready for summer cleaning right now. We're checking our machines, getting quotes, seeing if it's feasible to repair or dispose of. Also, we're taking inventory on any supplies from summer that was left from last year, so we won't have to order those supplies again this year. Any questions?
All right, very thorough. Any questions? Questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very thorough, I appreciate it. Okay. Now we have Mary. You know, I didn't say that. How's it?
Morning, board.
Good morning,
morning.
good
How you
morning.
guys doing today?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I don't have a lot of huge updates since the last time I did a department update, but as I said previously, we use social media, primarily Facebook, to interact with the community. That's our largest, by numbers, largest interaction that we have. But we use our social media to do updates and highlights our students and staff and update the community about opportunities for them to support our students. We continue to work with our local media representatives and organizations for advertising, to do feature stories, and I facilitate the communication with the district and the media for any interviews that they want to have with Mr. Dupree or anyone else at the school. In October, I attended a crisis management conference in Oxford with Mr. Chapman, Chief Brown, and Mr. Peterson. In the future, Mr. Chapman and I are going to sit down and kind of detail different plans for different emergency situations and put communication. I think previously they didn't have a lot of communication in our plans, and we're going to work with some contacts we made with MEMA, Homeland Security, and the FBI to kind of nail down those plans and get a good, strong plan going forward. I know I hit just the highlights, and it was pretty brief. I know you guys have somewhere to be later today, but do you guys have any questions for me about anything for this department?
Any questions, Dr. Schumate?
Actually, not a question, just an observation. You seem to have taken over the Monday Dispatch education page. So congratulations on that.
Well, thank you.
Because we're in about not every week, but almost every other week, a nice pull from the Facebook page.
Well,
So
thank you. And thank you, Jessica. I appreciate your help.
Oh, thank you, Jessica, for your help, yes.
Jessica?
Because it really does give the community a way of seeing what's going on in all the different schools. So
Yes,
thank you very much for
It
that.
does.
Well, thank you.
Good team. I'm very appreciative of that. Anyone? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
We have Mrs. Latoya Evans. We'll do exit interview summaries and the percentage report for provisional teachers. We already have copies, but she will
Good morning,
talk
Board.
about it.
Good morning.
Yes, ma'am.
In regards to our CMSD employee exit interview summary, I'm just going to ask if you guys have any questions in regards to that. Only because in that exit summary survey, they did list names. So we're not going to put it up on the projector due to confidential reasons.
Okay. Well, do you all have any questions regarding the survey report?
The only question I had, Ms. Evans, is when were we able to implement it or start it, the exit interviews?
I did it actually after Ms. Cox brought it up at one of the board meetings to remind me that was something that the board was working on. So I was able to find it in old files of the previous HR director.
Okay.
And so when I do know that someone is leaving the district, It's voluntary if they do it or not, and we did have 3 responses from administrators previously in the district.
Okay, great. So sometime, I think that was this summer.
Around,
when you
yeah.
asked
I
about it.
think it's around time that you, began the
July.
position.
Mhm.
Was it? It was July.
June, July.
Okay. I don't know, it's so much. Okay. Any other, questions,
Yes,
comments?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Access to the survey, how is that?
I did speak with JC on Friday regarding it. It's a link, that I sent to Ms. Woodard that she can share to the board so you guys can see the full responses.
Okay, and now when I say that, I mean as far as, how are we getting that information as far as the individuals that are leaving the district?
I send them an email.
You send them
If
an
I'm
email?
able to catch them before they leave, if we know they're gonna leave ahead of time, I send an email to them.
Okay.
Okay. Link to review surveys. Okay. The provisional report?
Okay, moving on to the percentage of the provisional and standard license holders report. I did it, just overall by the total number of employees we do have in the district. We have 291 certified, and then classified, we have 259. So what you guys see in front of you, 1-year license, employees, we have a total of 9, so that 7% of them are provisional license. 3-year license, we have a total of 37, which is 13%. And 5-year license is 235 employees, which is 80%. Do you guys have any questions regarding that? Dr.
Oh,
Shoemaker?
I was going, okay, go on.
Yeah, just a quick question. This is my ignorance. Tell me a little bit about emergency licenses.
When we have employees that come into the district, we hire, that doesn't go the traditional route, we send a letter to MDE. Their superintendent reviews the letter and sign off on it, and I'll send it to MDE requesting with a copy of their transcript. If they're in a program, going like alternate route or anything like that with Ole Miss or Mississippi State, I send a copy of that letter with it, an unofficial transcript, and request for a 1-year emergency license form to teach the subject we're hiring them for.
Okay, and I see that we sent 14 and 12 were approved.
The other 2, Dr. Shoemate,
Yes, ma'am.
ended up taking the practice test, so once you take the practice test, they'll go ahead and put that endorsement on your license.
Okay,
Yeah.
and so would they be, I guess my question is, where are the 12 in, are they up in 1-year license or?
Yes, they are. They're
Okay.
1-year license.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So within that 1-year license, process on the emergency license, do we have a process in place for alternate routes where we are monitoring their progression throughout the year towards, taking the praxis or meeting those requirements that you have to check off? Because now we are moving towards our count, which comes in December 1 for personnel, right?
Yes,
On the 10th or sometime around that.
it's the 6th this year.
Okay, I knew it was around in there, figure or not. But do we have a process in place so when we do this, it goes through and it's not, how to shoot it back out that they were not approved?
Well, each of them will be fine for this year. So on that report, we shouldn't have anyone to kick back to say they're not properly certified to teach the class. Each
Okay.
one has license to teach. And those licenses do expire June 30th, but MDE requires the employee during
Yeah.
that year, they have to be the ones to keep up and make sure they're doing what it takes to move into the next year license.
Okay, so the employee is the only one that monitors this.
Yes, as of now,
So they're responsible
they,
for
they
it.
are responsible. I am working with Ms. Wilson, we just talked about it last week, and making sure
Mm-hmm.
we're offering support to those teachers, making sure they do have their professional development, because that is something that the district has to show that they're offering to the employee as well, is the professional development. making
'Cause
sure
they
we're
could
not
get
leaving
some
them
of
out there
ours
just,
doing
you know,
PD.
hanging.
Okay, okay. All right. It's a good way of looking at it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Ms. Evans, Ms. Wilson, Mr. Chapman, Ms. Holly, all of you all, thank you all for really looking into this, because this is something that, during the term of a teaching day, that time would just slide by, teacher. If your mind is on getting kids passed and ready for testing, you know, that's where their minds are. And this, they'll say, oh man, my license running out. Because when we talked, hey, it was good that when mine ran out, I had enough to go right back in and get it done. But a lot of times you don't think about it.
And something else I've started this year in sending out, letters with the principals. We have principals meeting the day after the board meet. And I want to say it was the first meeting we had with the principals. So anyone with licenses expiring on June 30th of '23 have already received their first notification. And I'll do that 3 times this year
That's great.
to let them know their licenses are expiring.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Anything else?
That's all I have. Anybody else?
Thank
We're
you.
moving on. Thank you very much. Thank you all for the updates. We appreciate it. We're at item 5, open forum, policy BCBD. Do we have anyone? Nope. We're moving right along to item number 6, the office of the interim superintendent, the school operations. Is there any reports on this? So we'll move on to B, recommendations, consideration, and a discussion to approve staff personnel items. Requesting a motion to approve the personnel agenda.
So moved.
The motion is made by Mr. Sparks, requesting a second.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Young. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. It is unanimous. Moving on to item 2, consideration and/or discussion to approve the federal programs assistant to job description. Requesting a motion.
So moved.
Motion is made by Mr. Sparks, requesting a second.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Young. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Moving on to item number 3, consideration and a discussion to approve 2021-2022 teacher incentive payoffs based upon policy GBREB. Wow.
So moved.
Motion is made by Mr. Sparks, requesting a second.
Second.
Second by Dr. Shoemake. Any discussion?
Yay.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, right in time.
Thank you, Ms. Holly, and all your team for putting that together.
That is great. You know, I was here doing that and doing that for Christmas.
I do have a question.
Yes, sir.
More so a note. And,
Yes.
Ms. Rogers, if I guess you'll be the one to address it. We did have a school that went up 2 levels, 2 steps or whatever. So can you explain that process and how that works so that the other schools will know exactly what's expected?
So, Mr. Dupree and I reviewed the policy.
It doesn't work.
We reviewed the policy so many times, we could almost recite it back to each other, and nowhere did it state what would happen if a school bumped up 2 letter grades. So because it was written out from a D to a C, or a C to a B to an A, we had to give that school 2 bumps, and I was very proud to do it.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Oh. Okay, no other discussion? All in favor, please raise your right hand. It is unanimous. Moving on to item number 7, discussion of business management, financials. I'm requesting a motion at this time to approve the monthly financial statement report, policy DI for A, B, C, D, E, and F.
So moved.
The motion is made by Dr. Shoemake, requesting a second.
Second.
Second by Dr. Brown. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Moving on, item G, the monthly ad valorem tax collection analysis, policy DI. Board, do we have any comments? All right. Moving on to item H, the fund balance trends. I, bank cash balance yearly comparison. Athletic event report, J. Requesting a motion, we're moving down to K. Requesting a motion to approve items K, L, M, and N.
So moved.
The motion is made by Mr. Sparks, requesting a second.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Young. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. It is unanimous. Moving on to item number 8, our consent agenda. Board, you had these policies for review, which was on our prior agenda, and the policies are for consideration and a discussion to approve. These, the new policy, which is the Vocational Career Technical Education, HB 1388. And I'm including item B, which would be the current recommended policies, number 1 through 11. I'm requesting a motion to approve the new policy, which is the Vocational Career Technical Education Policy, along with the current recommended policies, number 1 through 11. Yes, ma'am.
I have a quick question.
Yes,
When
ma'am.
it's a new policy, I thought that had to sit on the table for, Mr. Dunn, 30 days or something? Or, I'm so confused.
Okay, there is no statute. I think we have a policy that says that they will sit on the table, new policies for a month, but there can be exceptions when it's necessary. When it's an emergency or it's an, real inconvenience, you can prove it at the meeting that is presented.
Okay.
Okay. Do you need additional time to review
No,
it?
I don't. I just wanted, I was trying to get straight in my head how it worked.
This is something that we really need to read, board. Let me slide on down. This particular policy. I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion, requesting a second.
Second.
Second is Mrs. Young. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. The motion passes to approve policy IN, Vocational Career Technical Education, and the recommended ones from last month, which would be item 1 through 11. Moving on to item number 12, policy GBRM2, requesting a motion to approve policy GBRM2, drug and alcohol testing. Requesting a motion to approve this policy.
So moved.
Okay, let me make sure I'm looking at this right. The motion is made by Mrs. Young, second by Mr. Sparks. Any discussion? For discussion purposes, I'll just note this motion, the information recommended is added information from the Mississippi Medical Cannabis Act stating that the district is not precluded from taking adverse and employment actions against an individual that tests positive for marijuana, even if it is medical marijuana. also stated that individuals are not allowed to use or possess medical marijuana on campus. Also removed unneeded information, and all of this has been cleared up in this particular policy. So the motions have been made, that's the discussion part. All in favor, please raise your right hand. The motion passes. Moving on to item number 13. This is the policy JCDAC, policy JCDAC, drugs and alcohol, possession and reasonable suspicions. Board, if you look at the second paragraph, I'm requesting a motion that the district does not allow the use of medical cannabis while on district property. Requesting a motion, and I'll read the added comments to go along with that. Added a choice for the district to either allow the medical marijuana to be administered on campus or not. So it will not, I'm requesting a motion to not allow medical cannabis at all in accordance to the Mississippi Medical Cannabis Act. Requesting a motion.
So moved.
The motion is made by Dr. Schumate.
Second.
Second, Dr. Brown. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. It is unanimous. Moving on. Excuse me. Item 14, policy JGCD. Policy JGCD. I'm requesting a motion at this time. And board, if you would please move with me to that policy. It's the last possible, last option. Medication shall be provided or administered to a student by school personnel only with a written request and consent of the student's parent / custodial / legal guardian, and by following policy JGCD-R, administration of prescription medication. The district does not allow the use of medical cannabis while on district property. Requesting a motion to approve.
So moved.
The motion is made by Dr. Brown, requesting a second.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Young. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you all. Moving on to item B. Consideration and a discussion to approve the rest of the consent agenda, which would include agreements, contracts, MOUs, out-of-state travel, field trips, and student transfers. I'm requesting a motion to approve items 1 through 5. I'm sorry, 15.
So moved. Sorry.
Scared y'all, didn't it? Thought we were
Yes.
going
No,
one
you
by
just
one.
checking. Yes.
The motion is made by Mrs. Young, requesting a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sparks. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you all. Thank you all for going through and having your questions and getting clarity for our board meetings with these items on the consent agenda. Appreciate it. We're looking at item number C, dates to remember, policy BCBD. We have Thanksgiving, November the 25th, 21st through the 25th. So that's coming up. And just in case I don't see you all, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Our athletic activities report and board meetings, December 7th, we'll do our school visit. The prior school visit went great. It did. I enjoyed it. I think I had me some greens and pinto beans.
Pinto beans, cornbread, yum.
It was really good. I appreciate that. Thank you so very much to Mrs. Williams and to Mrs. Johnson. who
Right,
was
Ms. Mia.
so hospitable right there with us. We really appreciate it. And then we have the regular meeting, which is on December the 12th. And that's at 6 o'clock. All right. Now I'm requesting a motion. Item 9, close determination for executive session.
So moved.
The motion is made by Mr. Sparks. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you. We're officially back in regular session, and at this time, we're requesting a motion to add a personnel item to our agenda at this point.
I move that we amend the agenda to add a personnel item.
The motion has been made, requesting a second.
Second. You gotta second it.
Oh, okay. The second by Dr. Brown.
I'm not sure what the personnel item is.
Okay,
Well, just to clarify, it's
Just to clarify.
add signatories,
mm-hmm,
check signing authority, Mr. Chapman and Ms. Wilson.
yes. But what I was gonna do is request a motion for it now.
Well, that's, you gotta say the personnel matter when you're gonna put it on the agenda, so we haven't voted on it yet. so
Okay.
we've already
You had to say exactly what it is.
Yeah, thank you.
Mrs. Wilson and Mr. Chapman to step in for additional signatory
Yeah, and
authority.
discussion matter, we think they've already got that authority, but we're not positive that it might have ended when.
When the interim started.
Stepped in, so we're just making devil dog sure that they got their.
You won't have your minutes and all of that in proper order. Maybe, better to be safe than sorry. Okay. Now I'm requesting a motion. Oh, I thought we did, I'm sorry. We had the first and second discussion. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay, the motion is carried to add the personnel item. So now, the personnel item has been made, and I am, ma'am, I'm requesting a motion.
So move.
Okay, thank you. The motion has been made to add Mrs. Wilson and Mr. Chapman in as, to step in for additional signature check signing authorities.
Second.
Second is Mrs. Young. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. It is unanimous. So we got that clear. Okay, if everybody is good, is everybody good at this time? Now I'm requesting a motion to adjourn.
So move.
The motion is made by Mr. Sparks, second by Dr. Brown. Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you. Motion, meeting is officially adjourned.